Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to tell you a story that begins on a quiet stretch of road. The kind of place where time feels like it slows down just enough for life to surprise you. It was late afternoon, the sun hanging low and warm, when a sleek red Ferrari sat awkwardly on the shoulder of the road, its hazard lights blinking like a silent call for help. Behind the wheel was a man who had everything money could buy. Yet in that moment, he felt completely stuck. The millionaire had been driving back from a high-level meeting, his mind full of numbers, contracts, and deadlines. He was used to control, used to problems being solved with a single phone call, but that confidence had drained away the instant the car sputtered, coughed, and died. No warning, no dramatic explosion, just silence. He tried restarting it once, twice, 3 times. Nothing. The dashboard glowed with unfamiliar symbols, mocking him. He stepped out of the Ferrari, adjusted his expensive jacket, and looked around. The road was mostly empty, bordered by fields and a few scattered houses in the distance. His phone had signal, but every call he made ended the same way. The service center was hours away. The tow truck was delayed. "It'll be a while, sir," they kept telling him. For the first time in years, waiting wasn't a choice. It was the only option. As he leaned against the hood, frustration giving way to exhaustion, he noticed a small figure sitting on the grass a few feet away. A little girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, swinging her legs and humming softly to herself. She had been there the whole time, unnoticed, like part of the scenery. She held a small backpack in her lap and watched him with curious eyes. The millionaire cleared his throat, suddenly aware of how ridiculous he must look. "Hey there," he said, trying to sound friendly. "Are you waiting for someone?" The girl tilted her head and smiled. "I'm waiting for my dad," she said. "He's fixing a tractor for Mr. Harris down the road." He nodded politely, though his mind was already drifting back to his car. The Ferrari, the embarrassment, the inconvenience. He turned back toward the engine, lifted the hood again, and stared at a maze of components he didn't understand. Technology this advanced wasn't meant to be handled by hands like his. It was meant for specialists, for people in clean workshops with diagnostic computers. From behind him, he heard a soft voice. "What's wrong with it?" He turned to see the girl standing now, a few steps closer. "I'm not sure," he admitted. "It just stopped working." She studied the car carefully, eyes scanning the engine like she was reading a book. Then she leaned in closer, whispering as if sharing a secret. "My dad can fix it." The words caught him off guard. He almost laughed, but something in her tone stopped him. It wasn't bragging. It wasn't childish imagination. It was simple certainty, the kind that doesn't need proof. "That's very kind of you," he said gently, crouching down to her level. "But this isn't a regular car. It's very complicated." She nodded seriously. "Yeah, Dad says complicated just means you have to listen harder." The millionaire straightened up, unsure how to respond. He checked his watch. Still no tow truck. Still no solution. "When will your dad be back?" he asked. "Soon," she said. "He always finishes before sunset." They waited together in silence for a while. The wind rustled through the grass. The sun dipped lower, and just as the girl promised, a man appeared walking down the road, wiping grease from his hands with a worn cloth. He wore old jeans, a faded work shirt, and boots that had seen better days. His face was tired but kind. "Daddy." The girl ran to him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "There's a car that needs help." The man followed her gaze to the Ferrari, then to the well-dressed stranger standing beside it. His eyebrows rose slightly. "That's some car," he said. "It broke," the girl explained. "But I told him you can fix it." The man chuckled softly, then looked at the millionaire. "I'm sorry, sir. I mostly work on farm equipment. Tractors, old trucks, engines like that." The millionaire shrugged. "At this point, I'll take any help I can get." The man walked around the Ferrari slowly, examining it with a practiced eye. He didn't rush. He listened. He leaned in close, touched a few components, closed his eyes for a moment as if feeling the car rather than looking at it. "Mind if I try something?" he asked. "Be my guest," the millionaire said. The man reached into his tool bag, pulled out a few simple tools, and got to work. The girl sat cross-legged nearby, watching intently. The millionaire stood back, arms crossed, skepticism slowly giving way to curiosity. This wasn't how he was used to solving problems. There were no contracts, no assistants, just a man, his hands, and an engine. After several minutes, the man stepped back. "Try starting it now." The millionaire slid into the driver's seat, turned the key, and held his breath. The engine roared to life, smooth and steady. He froze for a second, then laughed out loud, disbelief written all over his face. He stepped out of the car, eyes wide. "How did you do that?" The man shrugged. "Loose connection. Happens more often than you'd think." The girl beamed. "See, I told you my dad can fix it." The millionaire felt something shift inside him. Gratitude, yes, but also something deeper. Respect. He reached into his wallet, pulled out a stack of bills, and handed them to the man. "Please, take this. You've saved me a lot of trouble." The man hesitated, then gently pushed the money back. "I appreciate it, but we're okay. Just glad I could help." That refusal stunned him more than the repair. People rarely said no to his money. He looked at the girl, then back at her father. "At least let me do something for you," he said. "Anything." The man thought for a moment. "Well," he said slowly, "my daughter's school could use some new computers. The old ones barely work." The millionaire nodded without hesitation. "Consider it done." They exchanged numbers, and with one last smile from the girl, the millionaire drove away. But he didn't forget them. He couldn't. That simple moment on the roadside stayed with him, replaying in his mind long after the meeting he'd been rushing to was over. Weeks passed. Then months. The millionaire found himself thinking more about that day than any business deal he'd closed. He arranged for the school to receive not just computers, but a full upgrade. He visited the town quietly one afternoon, watching from a distance as children laughed and learned in a bright new classroom. Eventually, he met the man again. They talked, really talked, about work, about family, about life. The millionaire realized how much he'd been missing. Chasing success without ever slowing down to appreciate the people around him. And every time he saw the girl, she smiled at him the same way she had that first day, full of confidence and warmth. She'd whisper, "See, things work out." That stranded Ferrari had led him to something far more valuable than convenience. It taught him that solutions don't always come from wealth or power. Sometimes, they come from a quiet voice, a pair of hardworking hands, and a child who believes completely in her dad. So the next time you feel stuck, remember this story. Remember that help can come from the most unexpected places. And sometimes, all it takes is listening a little harder. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Until next time, take care, and never underestimate the power of kindness.